Since World of Warcraft was released in 2004, the game's best players have raced to be the first to complete its raids. A raid is like a massive dungeon with complex bosses to defeat, and in the old days, raids could get as big as 40 players. Nowadays, they range anywhere from 10 to 30. But the hardest raid difficulty in the game right now, Mythic, requires exactly 20 players, and they all need to be playing at an incredible level if they want to overcome its challenges. And in 2018, one of the game's most important guilds took the world first race to its biggest stage yet, Twitch.
Your decay is inevitable.
So, raiding isn't anything new. It's been a part of WoW since the game came out, and with every raid, the game's story gets pushed further.
There must always be a Lich King.
And since release, the game's best guilds have written a story of their own, as they tested themselves against the hardest raid content that WoW had to offer. Towards the end of the original World of Warcraft, before the first expansion came out, the competition to clear new raids became more formalized, and the race to complete the original Ixramis raid was a frequent topic of conversation. The World First race became an informal but extremely competitive undertaking. The game's developer, Blizzard Entertainment, seemed fascinated by the cutting-edge raiding guilds, even hosting some custom head-to-head raiding at BlizzCon.
Die right now. One. And that's the kill. Ladies and gentlemen, Method is our victor!
But Blizzard never directly supported the World First race, as evidenced by the continued inequality between North American and European guilds. The server reset times favor NA, giving them a 24-hour head start.
You know, the World First race is something that is obviously it's intriguing. It's always amazing seeing the very, very best raiders in the world practice their craft. But we're building our raids to present an epic experience, to tell a story, to, create engaging and immersive battles for millions of players. And we're always going to prioritize the depth of that experience over the nuances of the race.
The WoW community always looked to the raiding scene whenever a new raid tier released, but the race itself was usually little more than screenshots showing that bosses had been defeated. There was no way to watch it live. If you were a fan, you had to wait patiently to eventually see the kill video. Enter Method. The guild began to contend with some of the game's top guilds during the Cataclysm expansion, but broke through with their first World First clear during Mists of Pandaria. And since that time, Method has amassed the most World Firsts of any guild. Out of the 14 raids released between Mists of Pandaria and today, Method has claimed World First on 10 of them, and they did it with a 24-hour disadvantage compared to North America.
Yes! Yes! Fucking yes, boys!
Before Uldir, the first raid tier for Battle for Azeroth, was released, Method made a shocking announcement. It wasn't the first time ever that raid progression had been live streamed, but it was the first time that a guild with as much on the line as Method had done it.
I mean, we've actually talked about streaming raiding, the raid progress for many years actually, to be honest, the Method. Just thought it was always met with quite a lot of opposition, I guess you could say, from the guild itself in the past.
There's a very good reason not to live stream raids. Top guilds don't want the strategies they use to defeat bosses falling into their rivals' hands. Some people even tried to sabotage their rival guilds, though they were quickly disowned. There was one drawback to Method's stream, though. In order to maintain their advantage, you couldn't hear their voice comms.
5, 4.
So the stream was risky and somewhat incomplete. But there was a bigger question. Who cared? Method may have been the favorites to win the World First race, but World of Warcraft was nearly 14 years old, and it was never really popular on Twitch outside of expansion releases. But the race didn't disappoint, as viewers retreated to an epic finish. After the first week of Mythic, guilds working on the final boss of Uldir, G'huun, like Method and their NA counterpart Limit, were faced with a choice. Raids in WoW reset every week, but your progress can be extended to the next week, which means that you re-enter the raid instance at the same boss. But it also means that you can't kill all the bosses again and get some potentially much needed loot. After getting Gahoon to under 1% HP in week 1, Limit decided to extend their lockout, forgoing another week of loot to start immediately at Gahoon. Method decided to reset, guessing that the extra loot would be enough to push them over the top. In the end, Method stood triumphant over Gahoon, even with the stream and the EU disadvantage. But the viewer response was even more shocking than the finale. Over the course of the race, Method's channels peaked over 250,000 viewers. Guild leader and main tank Scott Sko McMillan's channel broke 150,000 when they finally killed Gahoon. The official Method channel treated the event more like an esport, even adding commentary from various observers.
Pulling everybody together. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much the ad control is integral.
The importance of the moment is up for debate, but interest in the race isn't. The Method stream proved more popular than some official Blizzard esports events. So, is there esports potential here, just waiting to be harnessed? Maybe, but it probably looks less like League of Legends and more like, say, speedrunning. There isn't new raid content in WoW every day. In fact, raids only come out about 3 times a year. But maybe there's potential for an event like Games Done Quick, something that can draw in viewership around a new raid while dedicated community can stick with it year-round. In any case, hardcore raiders and guilds like Method often use vacation time in order to raid 14 hours a day like they need to for the race. So it's not something they could do every week. But what Method's livestream did accomplish, without question, is show that there's still an audience on Twitch for watching the best WoW players compete at the highest level.
Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.